Hold that. What's up, FunkyMechanic viewers? Tonight, night maintenance, we're going to be changing the LS430 2001 front brakes. Alright, so once you've done your hydraulic jack, put one or two jack stands underneath your car. I usually have a primary and a backup just in case the first one slips. The first thing you want to do is, if you want to, you can spray with some brake cleaner. Take off the initial dust on there, as I did. Then you want to use either a little screwdriver or pliers to pull off this pin, as I did right here. So once you take off that pin to the side, now you can push out this inner pin towards the back or inside of your car, and you should be able to pop it out. If you need to, you can push this resistance back in so you can pull the pin out towards the inside. So once you do that, you should be able to pop out the brakes somewhat easily. Look at the inner one. There you go, got it out. Take out the outer one. Should be able to slip it out. There you go. It's not fully worn out, but it's close enough to call it for a change of brakes. Don't want to wait till it's totally gone, then your sensor on the other side can cause some issues for you. So that's how you take out your brakes. So here's a side-by-side comparison of the old brakes I just took out with the new one that I'm going to replace it with. So you could tell it's been worn out, possibly 25% left. Okay, so here's a brake part 04465 50240 from Iron Toad. So I'll be taking shim, put a little bit of this grease right here. So here we can take it. Brake and caliper grease, CRC. I always do it, so whether or not you do it, it's a habit of mine, so I do it on the brake pads itself and the inner shim. The top shim, don't do it. And as you can tell, I've already cleaned up my my shims with this brake and electric motor cleaner, Napa. So don't be lazy, clean your brake parts, as well as the resistant clamp and little bar and little pin right here. So make sure you clean all that up. So to put it back together, just put it on top of each other, and it should go nicely on top of your brake pad like that. All the holes should line up so you can see all the way through it. Same on this side. Okay. Sure everything's lined up. Then next part is we're going to push in the piston, open the hood, the brake cap off, make sure the brake fluid's not going to overflow, and we should be able to put these back in. So before we start pushing in those two pistons that pump the brake, open up your brake cap, brake fluid cap, and wrap a cloth around it just to make sure, and keep your eye on it just to make sure that the fluid doesn't overflow. More likely it doesn't overflow because there's just enough brake fluid in there to keep the pressure correctly intact with all your brake pads all around your car. So just keep an eye on it. From my experience changing my brake pads in the past, I never had to take any out or did it nearly overflow. But just keep an eye on it while you're pushing in the pistons so it doesn't overflow and ruin anything around your engine or your paint. Here's one tip on how to push in your brake pistons that put pressure on your brakes. That you gotta push all four out gently, and what I do usually is get a long flathead screwdriver, wrap it up in this blue garage towel, and just to soften it up, not damage anything, and put it in between, all the way down between your rotor, bottom center of your rotor, and between your piston, and you can push gently against it as leverage to push your piston in. It goes in nicely, softly and nicely. Don't force anything. Everything should be nice and easy. And of course, check up there to make sure your brake fluid is not overflowing. And like I said, it shouldn't be, because there should be just enough for all four rotors to be nicely pressured by the right amount of brake fluid. So do that for all four of these pistons and you should be good to go. Okay, so once you're done with the piston pushing exercise, next step is to put in your brake pads. Put in the inner one. Right, here we go. So if you pushed it in correctly, then you should be able to just slide it in as such. Then we're going to put in the outer one. Make sure the shims are on there, all two of them. And you should be able to just push this in as such. Next we're going to put in the resistance clamp on the outside. It should look as so. And you want to put in the rod from the inside going out. Push this in. Push this resistance clamp in. Make sure it goes through all the holes. Then we could just stick in this lock-in pin as such, and we are done. And it'll be the same exercise on the other side of your brake pad. You should be able to spin your rotor nicely. Should be a little resistance at the moment since your pistons are not pushed in, and you'll be pumping that once you're done with the other side, and we'll re-engage the brake pads with the rotor. So that's how easy it is to put your left side. The other side is just going to be a little bit different since there's going to be a sensor on that side, and I'll show you how to deal with that one when we get there.